Maggie, I feel like I'm in another world right now.
I know.
Right. Nobody even knows. No one's going to appreciate this, but we are doing this is at least my first video for Collider Dailies using StreamYard. I'm used to using it for the merry hours, so I'm not
Mhm.
completely like out of sorts right now, but it's an adjustment. Also, for anybody watching on YouTube, I don't know if this actually worked, but we're gonna try to start streaming from it's working. I'm looking at it, Maggie. We are
Oh,
live on Twitter as well. I am going to like and share this, and I will say, Maggie, how are you doing? How's
I'm
your
doing
day
really
so
good.
far?
It is hard to believe that it is Wednesday. This week feels like it should already be Thursday or Friday.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
I am saying Twitter in my tweet, and I don't care.
We're live on Twitter, and
Twitter.
that's all that matters.
Yes, yes. It's kind of cool. It's kind
It's
of
really cool.
cool.
I'm really excited about being on multiple platforms all at the same time.
And me leaning into the camera to type gave everyone a good look at my hat. So everyone has an assignment between now and when I leave for Sundance. I won't wear a different hat every day because my head can't handle it, but I will model many a hats and you must tell me which one you like the most and I will bring a couple to Sundance.
You should do a poll on your social media.
We've got a plus one for the hoodie. This is a New York hoodie. I need to make sure I keep some warm clothes in New York. So I think this one is stuck here, Mike. But tell me about the hats. Give me a hat report. Maggie, we've got an interesting story to start
We
with.
do.
So here's a little background for anybody out there who needs it. In January 2024, which I still can't believe I'm saying, the copyright on Steamboat Willie officially expired, meaning that Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain. This means that anybody in the United States can use the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse without having to worry about copyright infringement. So that specifically pertains to the Steamboat Willie version, which means that Disney still retains protections of other versions of Mickey Mouse, versions like, Big Eyes, Red Shorts. So it's not a free for all, but it does give a lot of people the opportunity to play around with a version of an iconic character, and play around they have. We've got a couple of news stories that came out immediately after this happened. One being an untitled horror comedy based on Steamboat Willie from Stephen Lamort. Apparently, in that movie, a sadistic mouse will torment a group of unsuspecting ferry passengers. Production is set to begin in the spring. A quote from Lamort says, "It all comes from our love of these characters. Filmmakers, we're all kids in the sandbox. We love taking them and playing with them in different ways. It's not a desire to ruin these characters or make a quick buck, but to love them and honor them and show them in a new light." How do you feel about that, Maggie? Is that how you see these creative opportunities?
I am not super positive about any of the things that have been announced this week because I love horror. I think it's a wonderful genre. There's a lot of movies in the horror genre that I like, but I hate that every single time a classic character enters the public domain, the first thought is horror. There's never like, how can we do something that hasn't been done yet? Something more creative. I feel like horror is always everybody's like first pick, and there's so many other things that they could play with in that sandbox. And I think that's why I'm frustrated, because everything this week has just been horror this, horror that. It's like another Blood and Honey. And I'm like, come on, can't you think of something other than like, let's make this a sadistic mouse that murders people?
You delivered that argument to the wrong person.
I know, like you love horror so much. I'm like, I know you probably are fine with this, but it's just like
But I do get where that concern comes from, because I do think that there can, and this can happen in any genre. I
mhm,
think we need to be doing this with films and other forms of entertainment of a certain quality.
mhm.
I mean, the desired end result isn't, public domain. It's a free for all. Everyone whip up whatever you can as fast as you can and put it out there. I want to see some things done with purpose and with quality and with production value. And I have to be hopeful that that will happen in some instances here,
Yeah.
but also I do like the idea of people being able to play with and reimagine things that we have been trained to love in a certain
Mhm.
way. And obviously it is important for certain characters and certain brands to be protected in some respect, but what is it, like 90 years on this one, 95 years,
I think it's
95?
95.
let people have some fun with Steamboat Willie. I'm not against that. Again, I hope that these things are done with a certain level of respect and quality.
Yeah. I saw Screamboat Willie and I love that idea.
Steamboat Willie. Who said that?
I think Mike said it.
Yep,
Yes.
Mike K. I'm on point. On point, my friend. Oh, this is where it came from. Steamboat Willie Scream
Yes.
crossover. I don't know. I don't know about that. So we brought up this horror comedy that they're making. Then there's a game as well. And there's already a trailer out for this game called Infestation, where players take on the roles of exterminators called to rid a storage facility and other locations of rats. Did you watch that trailer?
I did, unfortunately.
Yeah, you didn't like it?
It was weird. I don't know. It felt more like it could have been its own thing. It didn't need to be Steamboat Willie.
Yeah,
The
I think
premise was
I'm with
cool.
you.
Yeah.
And, like, that to me felt like something that might have been whipped up rather quickly
Quickly?
and
Yeah,
put
that
out
one
there
felt
a
like a
little too fast.
reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much I love that. Did you ever see Blood and Honey?
Unfortunately, I did.
Oh, so you, like, really didn't like it.
There was just little aspects of it. I think the idea was really neat. When I first saw the concept, this was really like the advent of the taking a classic character and turning them into homicidal maniacs. I was like, oh, this is like a cool play on this. And then the actual product, I was like, that was fine.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm not gonna say that I loved it, but again, I do like the idea of someone doing something different with beloved
yeah.
characters. I mean, one of the things that I've been saying for years is because I think a question back in the old days that used to come up on these live streams all the time is maybe specifically like what would you want to see have a horror spin on it? And I
Mhm.
always said the Lego movie because I
Oh
think it'd be
my gosh.
really exciting and interesting to see oh, like Lego blood and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Put a
I'm
new
kind of
meaning on
open to
step on
these
a Lego.
ideas. Yeah. I feel like there's great possibility there, but I
I
guess
feel like
Lego is
you could
not
do
for
a
public
Saw,
domain.
like a Saw and Lego crossover with
I'm
torture with Legos.
I mean, see now you're talking my language. I don't know how many people out there are like, yeah, I need torture with Legos, but I do feel like Lego horror is an untapped
Yeah.
gold mine.
Jigsaw likes to build Legos in his spare time.
Jigsaw building Legos. I mean, maybe that's how he designs his traps. They're actually all modeled via Legos.
There you go. He's a Lego model YouTuber.
There we go. We've already put the ideas out into the world for when Lego goes into the public domain. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Mickey Mouse though. I'm sure we'll be covering stuff like this quite a bit through the year because I have to imagine a lot of artists are going to jump on this relatively
Oh yeah,
quickly.
there was
So,
another one came into the public domain too. The other half of Peter Pan is now there. The
oh
play is
yeah.
in the
And
public domain in the U.S. In the
yes,
UK, it's still owned by other foundations, but in
and
the U.S.
Tigger.
Yes.
Tigger too. We'll
And
see what
Tigger too.
happens. Yeah, real. I should have said it like that. Missed opportunity. We'll see what happens with all that. Next story on our agenda today is a quote about the currently untitled Ray movie, which of course we'll see Daisy Ridley reprise her breakout role. So we don't know all that much about the movie just yet, other than the fact that it is set 15 years after the rise of Skywalker. But director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy did just share some enthusiasm for the project. In a New Year's Eve interview with CNN, she said, "I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we're about to create is something very special." I would hope she thinks it's
I
something
hope
very special. Another quote said, "We're in 2024 now, and I think it's about time we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away." The article had noted she would be the first woman and first person of color to direct a Star Wars movie, which
Mhm.
is accurate and very exciting. Do these quotes up your hype for this untitled Ray movie, or does it remain where it was before?
I think it definitely makes me excited to hear everybody involved, both Daisy Ridley and the director, being very excited about it. I think that helps kind of ramp up the excitement a little bit for myself. I'm still not 100% yay, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I'm hopeful. I still very much feel a lot of reactions from the Rise of Skywalker every time somebody mentions, even when you mentioned it's set 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker, I
Yeah.
was like, twitch, twitch, twitch. But I'm excited. I think that, her work that she's previously done on projects like Miss Marvel, I think there's a lot of, excitement there. And yeah, I was still kind of surprised that CNN had the exclusive
I
interview with
know.
her on New Year's Eve.
Little, yeah, out of all networks and of all times, but here we are. I think I have been somewhat trained out of getting excited about Star Wars news, comic book movie news, etc., because
Yeah.
we've had so many big franchise announcements that I get really, really pumped about just for them to never pan out.
Yep.
So I think I'm kind of in the mode of protecting myself and not getting too excited about anything because there's no guarantee that it's actually going to happen. And
Exactly.
that's kind of what's taking over my mind right now. I am someone who I didn't love The Rise of Skywalker, and admittedly, since seeing it for the first time, every time I rewatch it, I see more cracks, and my love of it
Yeah.
decreases. I do
Commend
see
you for watching it more than twice.
there are a bunch of little elements in it that I do still really like, and I do think signal creative potential for the future that I
Mhm.
like to hold tight to. But who knows? And
Who
the
knows?
other thing that I think about all the time is, as much as I really do love Rey and I love Daisy Ridley in that role, and I love a lot of the new characters that were first introduced in Force Awakens and beyond in the new trilogy, I'm still of the mind that I just want newer stories. Like,
Same.
it's a galaxy. It's a galaxy. Why
I
can't we
love
go to like a bizarro corner and do something
I
different?
know. I would love to live in a world where I can watch Star Wars content and never have to hear the name Skywalker again. Like,
I don't
I
know
just
about
like,
that.
I mean, like, I want stuff on the other side of the galaxy, the
Yeah,
people who
yeah.
aren't being, tormented by the Skywalker curse, like those stories, which is like why I'm
Yeah.
really excited for the Acolyte, because that's so far before everything that we have that there's stuff that's brand new for us.
I'm very excited about the Acolyte. I think I'm most excited for the Acolyte also because I really like Leslie
I
Headland,
love
and
Leslie
I
so
think,
much.
I think the creative possibilities are endless with her in control over there, so I'm looking forward to that. But,
Yeah.
you know, maybe not seeing Skywalkers directly involved in a main narrative, but I would love to see, even, and I do understand that, it's a business and certain characters will inspire more people to give a movie a shot within a franchise, but I think there is great potential in telling a new story with different characters where,
Mhm.
whether it's directly, I mean, I'll take out directly, where it's indirectly being influenced by what the Skywalkers had done. Like,
Yeah.
that's something I would be very open to.
Yeah. There's a
Alright.
lot. It's a whole galaxy, and I feel like we're so stuck in this one little corner of it.
Such a big galaxy, so many different abilities and types of
Mhm.
individuals and technology. I'd like to explore even more of it than we have. Alright, our last topic of the day is a pretty big one because for the first time in over half of a decade, since 2016 specifically, someone other than Disney has taken the yearly box office crown. That studio is Universal. In a year when Disney was celebrating its 100th anniversary, The House of Mouse grossed a combined $4.83 billion at the global box office. Universal eclipsed them with an estimated 4.91.
Oh,
Did you s-
yes.
did you see this coming, Maggie? At what point in the year was the writing on the wall for you?
I think when everything started to shift release dates and things were very apparent that they weren't going to, like, meet schedules that they had previously established and things started getting canceled, that's when I was like, "Ooh, Disney's starting to slip. It looks like they're losing their, like, hold on the box office." And then, Oppenheimer did so well, and some of the other titles that Universal had last year were big successes, and Disney and, the 20th Century projects weren't doing as well. And I was like, ooh, but this still surprised me.
It didn't surprise me by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm being if I'm being honest, the only point in time when I seriously considered this was when Oppenheimer went on to make nearly $1 billion at the box
Mhm.
office. That is huge and heavily unexpected. You could walk around saying in the first half of the year, yeah, I thought Barbie and Oppenheimer would do well. I would love to see someone who has proof of their prediction that either movie would come anywhere close to a billion, if not cross it in Barbie's case. But at the beginning of 2023, I never in a million years would have guessed that in a year when Disney had a number of Marvel movies, a live action Little Mermaid, a new Indiana Jones movie, Wish.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. I never would have thought when a studio had all of that with a built-in audience that it would have not managed to top the box office when that is an achievement it has done so consistently.
Yeah.
So I'm a little shocked.
I am
I'm a little
too.
shocked that we're having this conversation.
I know. And I feel like it plays off of what you were just saying about with the Ray movie and like keeping enthusiasm kind of at a minimum, because
Yeah.
there is that superhero fatigue, which this is part of. We're seeing that, the Marvels didn't do well last year and all of these things that didn't do well. And then, last night we had this news that Steven's dropping out of Thunderbolts, which was originally supposed to come out this year. And it seems like this might be a new pattern for Disney, not hitting those previously achieved goals and totals.
Yeah. Mike is always here to point out some really good animated news, and this is true.
Yes.
The carryovers do count, and I'll balance it out there. So Universal had the carryover in Puss in Boots, which is exceptional. If someone wrote off
Oh, so good.
Puss in Boots because I don't know, you don't love that franchise, please watch that movie. It's
One of the best
exceptional.
movies I saw last year.
Yeah. But Disney had that same benefit via Avatar. So they both went into the new year pretty strong, and one kind of, I'm not going to say tanked. I mean, it still made it still made 4.83 billion, but for Disney with all the IP it has to not take the crown again is a pretty big deal. Looking ahead now, do you think it has the potential to take the top spot back, or is another studio, if not Universal, bound to top it again?
I think another studio will take that claim this year. I think Disney has a lot of restructuring to do with how they market some of the movies as well, because there's a lot of movies that could have done much better last year that I felt like were quietly released. And those are the ones that came over with the acquisition with 20th Century. I just think they could have pushed a little bit harder. And so it'll be interesting to see if they it's the Searchlight movies and all of that, like how that does in the new year.
So we've got our friend right here saying a lot of things are going to make $1 billion. Deadpool
Yeah.
has a chance, especially if the marketing is done right and the
Mhm.
movie is actually good. Deadpool is a movie on Disney's 2024 lineup that could make a considerable amount of money. Watch out for Inside Out too. That first Inside Out movie made a lot of money as well. I do think they might have a bit of an uphill battle with Mufasa.
Yeah.
Lion King did okay, but I think they're losing some faith with their live action adaptations. I would like to think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is in good shape as well. I think if it's good and good word of mouth starts to spread pre-release, that could help it a lot. But
Mhm.
it has been a significant amount of time since the last installment of that franchise. And then another one to consider for Disney in 2024 is Fede Alvarez's Alien movie,
Yeah,
which
I'm very excited for that one.
you never know. But again, I think that's another franchise that has a little goodwill to win back. So
Yeah.
Disney has potential in 2024. If I am looking at that particular lineup, and then I'm looking at what Universal has, though, Universal has Kung Fu Panda 2, Fall Guy, Despicable Me 4, and those Despicable Me movies make a lot of money.
So much.
Gladiator 2, highly anticipated, and also
Mhm.
Wicked Part 1. Wicked, I think, could
Oh,
wind
yeah.
up being a pretty big smash. And then, I don't know, isn't Twisters like a joint effort between Universal and Warner Brothers? So
I
where
think
does
so.
I'm, like,
Yeah.
not entirely sure off the top of my head where the main money would go, but I don't know. Looking at those lists, I think it's gonna be pretty close between Disney and Universal again, and then you can go over to, Warner Brothers, Doom Part 2, the new Godzilla movie, Furiosa, Beetlejuice, Joker 2.
Yeah.
Couple movies there that have real potential to pop big. And then it's also worth reminding everybody that, again, at the beginning of the year, even if you predicted that Barbie and Oppenheimer would do well, coming close or passing the $1 billion mark is a different kind of thing. If something else surprises us like that next year and it's not a Disney movie, we could be having the same conversation again at the top of 2025.
I absolutely guarantee we will be.
Oh, you guarantee
Yeah,
it.
I
Okay.
definitely
Okay.
Just looking at remembering who is on that list for both Warner Brothers and Universal and like that potential there seems like we could have a repeat of this conversation next year. But it'll be curious to see. I mean, there's a lot of factors that, we didn't, see a strike happening last year and a lot of things that, you can't necessarily plan on this year. So never know.
I think JG here is spot on. I think Disney will be back at it again on top in 2025, but 2024 will go to someone else. I think my predictions are right in line with you, JG. I hope you all have enjoyed this edition of Collider Dailies on StreamYard. Some of you out there might even be watching on TikTok on maybe one day on Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter. I hope you're enjoying watching over there. Maggie, is there anything you want to shout out or promote before we sign off for the day?
Not anything yet. 2024 is starting off slow for me, but looking forward to where things are going.
I feel like you said that in a way like you were disappointed. Enjoy it because that's not gonna last very long.
I know. I'm like, it's the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I'll promote this, which came out. It was the last Ladies' Night episode of 2023, and I hadn't had the chance to promote it. But if you want to watch a brand new episode of the show, we have one with Carla Gugino up and running on the Collider Extras YouTube channel. And not that this surprises me one bit, but like, what a great interviewee! She's so good, and it's just incredible to me. Sometimes I know, like, because when I book people, I book them because I'm excited about their filmographies and I know that they're super talented, but it's different booking it with those intentions and actually doing the work and preparing and getting that bird's eye view of someone's filmography so like closely and intently. And she's done so much, so much. Can I put you on the spot? What is your favorite Carla Gugino title?
I have to say the Spy Kids movies. Like I love Spy Kids. That is when I think of her, I think of Spy Kids because that I think was my first introduction to her work. But then of course, like the Flanagan stuff is the more recent and I love all of her work in that as well. But that's the one that I think of when you say her name. I'm like Spy Kids.
It's hard for me not to say Fall of the House of Usher, not just because it's most recent, but because like that is a very rare performance opportunity and she just like soars with it. She goes above and beyond with one character who's essentially like a multitude of characters. And I find that very exciting. I watch San Andreas a lot, like a lot. Also, I have a special place in my heart for Watchmen because it's one of the very first movies that I like officially covered as someone working in this industry. So I will always remember that particular film fondly. And the fact that after that movie, I went through a period of time where I was like, and I still do actually, where I was seeking out her work and making sure that I covered whatever came next. So Watchmen and everyone involved in that will always have a special place in my heart.
It's a great film.
Agreed. All right. With that, we are out of here. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day for Wednesday. As I dribble out this outro, I'm trying to remember who's on tomorrow. It's me and Steve, right?
I think so. It's like, it's not me.
Yeah. We will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern for a brand new edition of Collider Dailies with me, maybe with a new hat on, and Steve with no hat on. We'll see you then. Have a good one, everyone.